point of the whole thing is to bring the animal into present moment so that they can use their own intelligence to consider their choices. So instead of being on autopilot, auto react, like postman bark, once they realize that, wait a minute, the postman comes up every day, I bark at him every day, he leaves every day, but he hasn't done anything bad. So those of you who knew Pete when he was only like a year old when you were here, he's highly reactive and highly sensitive, but he's calmed down to the point where Harlan couldn't believe, he was a different dog. And it's only from 30 seconds, a couple of times a day, bringing him into present moment, and allowing them, instead of directing them all the time, allowing them to make their own choices, which is a very interesting thing when it comes to pets. You can do it with cats too, but they're not as receptive, but they too share emotions. As a matter of fact, all mammals share emotions. So I guess the thing, I had to put together a whole slideshow and everything. So I've done that. Maybe someday, if you're really bored, I could send it to you and you could look at it. But it's a unique thing because, when you look at all the dog behaviorists online, they're like, these dogs have prong collars on and shock collars on and noisemakers, and they're, trying to be the alpha and pulling these dogs and dragging these dogs, when in reality, what they're doing is just exacerbating the issue because the dog doesn't trust anyone who's going to be pulling them around. And if you bring them into present moment, if you go into present moment with them, they know they can be peaceful around you. They begin to trust you. And then when they begin to trust you, they'll do whatever you want because that's their whole job. I mean, to me, I think that's why dogs were put on earth, was to be whatever we want them to be or whatever we need them to be. So if we need a dog that's highly reactive because we ourselves are reactive, that's what we're going to get. And so once we learn to mitigate our own reactivity, then the dog does. So it's really a very beautiful interplay between animals and humans. And I'm learning a lot, just a real lot about, and feeling really bad about the way I treated animals as a kid, because I was brought up, animals are animals. They stay on the floor. You kick them out of the way if they're in your way, you feed them, and they're just there for protection or whatever. But there's so much more than that, and you get the protection. So
yeah, they're sentient in their own way. We need to treat them with respect.
Exactly. And if we do, they respect us back. It's like this universal thing. We always say, as you act, you will be acted upon. As above, so below, as it all emanates from us. And so if we can be peaceful, even in the face of, a reactive dog who looks like he wants to take your head off, then that dog is like, wait a minute, what's happening here? She's not yelling at me. She's not telling me to lay down. She's not screaming and telling me to stop barking. I don't get it. And so then they go back into their mind. You're like, oh, maybe there really isn't anything to react to. Maybe I'm just making a big deal out of nothing. And that really is kind of their thought process. And it's kind of cool. It's very cool. And as I talk, Fifi loves it. But as I talk about it, you can see she just wants part of it. So yeah, it's very cool.